Welcome to Survival Weekly. My name's Chad.
And my name's Kevin. This is our show about two ordinary guys just discussing survival. And I think that would vary depending on where you lived. I mean, if you lived in the tropics, your survival kit would be slightly different than someone that may be escaping or evacuating to North American wilderness where the temperatures can get to minus 40 degrees or whatnot. So I think your gear should be fine-tuned towards where your bug-out location is. And I think the one thing that a lot of people miss on is that they don't have a predetermined fallout location.
Like a retreat.
They have all this preparedness and they have all this gear, but they don't know where they're going when it happens.
I don't really have a place planned out either. I don't know where I go. I have my bug-out bag. I have a lot of these preparations in mind in terms of the tools and the equipment that I would need, but I don't even have a place that I have to go right now.
See, I have an objective. I have a map of the area. I know exactly where I want to go. I know exactly, and that's not to say that I'm going to stay there. My plan is to get there, to regroup, to figure out what's going on, and then what I need to do. If I, at that time, determine that it could be a viable place for me to stay, then I'll stay. If not, then I'll be moving.
Yeah.
But I know where I want to head. I know sort of how I want to get there, and I have multiple routes to get to that location. Should that have to change, it's an area that I'm familiar with. It's woods and everything that I'm familiar with to a certain extent. But definitely know that there's clean water there, there's food supply that can be caught, those types of things.
The reason I haven't put much energy into finding a retreat or setting something like that up, not to say that I won't in the future, is that most of my energy has gone into preparing for a bug-in situation.
Absolutely, which I'm a little weak on the bug-in because I think I'm going to get out, whereas you...
I think it would... The most likely scenario, in my opinion, for a disaster scenario or some kind of collapse would be an economic wind-down. Not so much an overnight collapse, but a wind-down, kind of like Argentina has been experiencing for the past 10 years. And I think it's more likely that we're going to have to be semi-self-sustainable in our own homes, even for a short period of time, like a month, 3 months. Where I don't think it's, and being in the Canadian Shield like we are here in Ontario, it's pretty solid. We're probably not going to see a tsunami. We're landlocked. Earthquakes.
We could easily get earthquakes. We could easily get hit by asteroids. We're not in control of, things that happen and whatnot. So, I look at it as, it could come from the sky. It may have nothing to do with, but we are susceptible to earthquakes. I've been in cottage country before where we've had tornadoes. We've had freak tornadoes in Woodbridge that, we would never have thought. And look at the damage that it did. We had the ice storms that hit in Quebec a few years back that leveled Quebec. These are freak storms that are out of character in areas that, had never seen that kind of storm before, that kind of freak storm. So I would never say, are we going to get hit from a tidal wave from the ocean where we are? No. Not unless it's 10 miles high.
And then nobody has a chance anyway. And in that
case, everything on Earth is about to get, obliterated anyway. So, that scenario I don't really see as very realistic or viable. So, but we do have earthquakes and those types of things, definitely. Why can't we have an earthquake?
I think we could. It's very unlikely. I'm saying I'm more prepared for...
It's very unlikely in the given climate of the situation, but we also know that the poles are shifting, which is causing a shift in the Earth's atmosphere in the core of the Earth. We know that the Earth's frequency is changing. We know that the sun has reverse sunspots, and there's a lot of changes going on with the sun. Well, these things are going to affect what is going to shift and what not, especially with the North and South poles shifting, and we know that they have shifted quite a bit. And that is happening, and that's an underlying shift of the Earth's crust. So what used to be a fault line is starting to switch, and that's starting to change. So I still think that that is a potentially viable option that we would have to work for. I'm not the biggest scientist on the place of the Earth or whatever, but I don't necessarily believe everything that they tell me either.
Yeah.
I do a lot of research. I don't have a TV, so I spend my time researching. And
so you see a lot more value in bugging out than in?
I see the idea of a collapse when there's chaos in the streets and people in a city environment fighting and struggling for limited food resources and everything, I see leaving as my best option, yes.
What about bugging in with your neighborhood community, like we saw happening in Katrina?
Well, I find, the idea of community is a very almost non-existent thing, and I say that because I live in an apartment and I've lived here for years, and I only live in a building with 5 other people, and I don't know not one of their names. So you tell me how tight the community is, that you want to rely on people that you don't even know their names of when, they walk up and down past you on the stairs, thinking of 3 times a week. And so you tell me how tight community is.
Yeah. Yeah, I only know my neighbors on each side of me, other houses around. I don't really...
That's not much of a community to rely on, let me tell
true,
you.
yeah.
I mean, you pretty much are on your own, and I would think that because you don't know the majority of the people in your community, and the way, unfortunately, that society is today about everything is about getting what you need for you, I think trusting other people in a bug-out situation would be a very dangerous thing.
Yeah.
I really think it would be a very dangerous thing. I mean, the movie The Rock or whatever... The Road, sorry, shows it, if you don't know the movie, it's based after, natural collapse or a disaster in the world, and it's based 10 years after. And I mean, they don't trust anybody. People are eating people and as a food source because of the way that the calamity has gone down. So would you trust other people? I don't know. I have a few friends in my life that I would trust with my life, and I tell you, not too many of them live right next door to me.
So it's obviously not an easy answer what survival means to you. But we definitely like to know what you think about survivalism and how you approach it. Weigh in, like I said, with comments, video responses.
My name's Kevin.
My name's Chad.
And thanks for watching Survival Weekly.